Hello and welcome to Ascension Central Texas. I'm your host, Charles Jenkins, and in the studio with me, we have Miss Vanessa Jacoby, PhD. She's assistant professor at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio, Texas. Hello and welcome to today's show.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
And in talking with you, you're here today to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart as well, strong families. Tell us a little bit about strong families, and then tell us about the support program.
Yeah, so I'm the program director for a program called Strong Families, Strong Forces, and we are a program that supports military and veteran families throughout military-related transitions. So that includes, for military and active duty families, that includes things like deployments and frequent training. So we know that military families and often are separated just by trainings for service members, and then also PCSing, moving from military station to military station, and then for veteran families, families who are transitioning out of the military for any reason, so retirement or any reason transitioning out, and then even veteran families who've been out for a little while. Sometimes that impact can last. Oh yeah. And then we also just talk about sort of the legacy of deployments overall, and sort of the cumulative impact that deployment can have on military families.
Tell us some of the things you do in, how do you attract families, or is it something families come to you for, or you go to them?
Yeah, so we definitely want families to come to us, but we do a lot of outreach in the community. We're housed on Fort Hood, and so we go to soldier readiness programs, the things that military service members have to do to get ready to return from deployment. We're there and we brief soldiers. In that way. We really try to be as preventative as possible. So what we say is that we are for any military or veteran family. So we say, if you're having an upcoming separation or transition, or you recently returned, and your family is kind of having some bumps in the road, having some challenges, we're a great fit for your family. And if your family's having no challenges, you're doing great, we're a great fit for your family too, because we really are there for prevention, reduction of stress, reduction and prevention of adverse reactions.
Is there any cost associated with just being a part of Strong Family? Right,
there's no cost at all.
Wow.
Yeah, we're fully funded. So any military or veteran family with kiddos, it's a program for military families with kiddos, because we do talk a lot about parenting and co-parenting and kind of navigating the ins and outs of the role transition that has to happen with separations, but it's no cost.
What does it look like to participate in it?
Yeah, so we have family specialists who will meet with you, and your first meeting, it's individual meetings. The first meeting takes about an hour, and we go over our consent process and our paperwork. We learn about your family. We learn about the transition that you're experiencing, the goals or the reasons your family is coming, and we create an individualized support plan.
That's good.
So that plan can include things that you want to make changes to, but it can also include just identifying strengths that your family has that you want to maintain and move forward with.
That's awesome.
Or a mix of the two. We then meet individually with families, and the amount of meetings and the timing really depends on the family. We are incredibly flexible.
That's
so
awesome.
We can meet with families before or after business hours. We meet with families oftentimes in their home, or they can come to our offices. It's whatever they prefer and find most convenient and comfortable. And we do a combination of focused discussions with parents and kiddos who are old enough to participate in focused discussions. And then a lot of family activities, so things that foster things like connection and reconnection after separation. We do a lot of work with communication, helping parents and co-parents communicate about transition with each other, and then how to best talk about things like deployment and military service with kiddos. And then again, a lot of parenting and co-parenting, and how to sort of navigate those roles when you have people having to leave and come home and things like that.
You see this smile because you've said several things that just sparks interest in me, and I'm all about Strong Families. How do people get in touch with you if they want to just learn more, get to know more about Strong Families? How would they get in touch with you?
So the best and easiest way is just to give us a call.
Okay.
So the phone number is 254-289
Okay.
3468. And you could also email our email address. I think is that on the screen?
Well, no, it's
Okay.
It's on the screen.
It's on the screen.
Strong Families, Fort Hood at Outlook.com.
Exactly. Strong Families, Fort Hood at Outlook.com. You can connect with us on Facebook just to see what we're doing.
Yeah.
We try to be active and post family relevant material on there. And we're doing some work on there, posting some videos for April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and also Month of the Military Child. So we're doing some special things there.
And when you say those things, shoot out a couple of just different things y'all doing.
Yeah, so we're you'll see a video of me talking about how to talk about body safety with young children, and there's some really cool coloring pages that we got from another website that I do mention on that video. I didn't create them myself, but they're really cool coloring sheets that help kiddo. It's like an opening to a conversation to talk with kiddos about private parts and privacy, and kind of with the now teaching kiddos that they're the boss of their body, they're in charge of who can touch their body is special and private, things like that. Because it's sometimes hard to know how to talk with kiddos about things like body safety and prevention of things like child abuse.
And as a parent, you think it's easy, but when it's just awkward because you're talking to your child about it, and it gets a little awkward. What are some needs you guys have that the community as a whole can get around and kind of support you guys?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the biggest thing is just helping get the word out.
Okay.
We're not completely new. We've been here on Fort Hood since 2016.
Okay.
And we are expanding, and it's helpful to just tell families who we are and what we can do, especially veteran families. Because we're housed on Fort Hood, I think we're more well known in the active duty community, but we serve veterans, and we want to support more veterans who are going through transitions or who are impacted by transition. So especially veteran families, any veteran families that you know with kiddos, share information, give us a call, just getting the word out. That's really it.
Have you, from being in this as long as you have, do you have any stories of people coming back just thanking you guys for what you do?
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely. We've had lots of stories. Privacy of families is really important to me, so I'd have to keep it pretty vague, But yeah, I mean, I think that families, I can speak kind of generally, which is that sometimes families, they come in and they're like, okay, well, this is a program that you offer. We're going to use it. It's purely prevention, so you don't have to say that you're having problems necessarily, but then families can start to notice that, maybe they did have more needs then, or they had some challenges that they weren't quite aware of. And I think it makes so much sense, because a lot of times, especially when we work with kiddos or young kiddos, and we don't notice, because especially young kiddos, they don't have the words necessarily to know when they're impacted, and so there are families that have come in and said, "Oh, I really didn't know, but now I can see,
awesome.
and now I know how to talk to my kiddo about that."
That's good.
So yeah, I think our the prevention piece and having any family come in is what's helped our success.
That's good. And I know we talked a lot about the support, Strong Families program. Tell us a little bit about you. And I know, how long have you been on, just the 2 years, and how long have you been doing things with Strong Families?
Yeah, so I've been working on Fort Hood since 2014, and so I also another piece of our organization is our larger organization is called Strong Star. So we work with active duty and military service members with PTSD or other deployment-related problems. So I've been working with military families on Fort Hood since 2014. Strong Families came on board in 2016.
Right.
Yeah.
What when you say strong families, how long do the families have to go through the process? Is it a 6-month thing, a year thing, or it just depends on the family and they're ready?
Yeah.
You know, when they feel they're done.
Great question. So it depends definitely on the family's place in transition and the strengths and challenges that they're having, right? But so, for example, if a family comes in and they're set to deploy, so it's pre-deployment, and the spouse or the family is leaving to go stay with other family during deployment, then you know it'll be pretty limited. You know, let's say they're leaving in 2 months. You know, well, we have 2 months. We might get in 4 or 5 meetings. Okay. But sometimes we support families during deployment, and it turns out, kind of based on our support plan, that it's helpful to meet that family through the deployment. In that case, we're with them for 9 months. We might meet less often once we kind of establish that support plan and things are working. We might check in monthly for a while, and then reintegration, or also working with veteran families who are transitioning out and sort of at the end of their transition. We work with families. Usually that's about a couple months, about 8 or 9 meetings altogether. But I'm kind of speaking in generalities because it does sort of depend on the family, and we make our program very individualized to each family.
I think that's good. What from your standpoint, why is families getting this support so important to you and to your agency?
Absolutely, yes. I think families, number one, families are very busy, right? So any family is very busy. I think this is especially true for military families because there's trainings, there's long duty hours, and then for veteran families, there's kind of navigating the into the civilian community. There's a lot of change, and whenever there's change and transition, there's stress, right? And I think there's a stigma around being impacted by stress. So, we sort of get the idea that if we're impacted by stress, if we can feel that stress, then it's like a weakness or something wrong. And that's just not true. Stress and reacting to stress is human, and it's a strength. That means that we're human beings. Go ahead.
I hate to cut you off, Ms. Jacoby, but we have about 5 seconds left. I want to thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for what you're doing. You have to come back, and appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, our viewers, for tuning into Attention Central Texas.